Hey everyone, today's video is about World War III, but not in the cheesy tomorrow at 9 a.m. way. The real danger is boring and terrifying. Big wars usually start as a chain reaction, and each link looks manageable right until it isn't. Early March 2026 is a good example of why people feel nervous. The world feels tighter. Strikes, retaliation, threats around shipping routes, markets reacting, and leaders talking in the language of self-defense and red lines. That's how the temperature rises without a formal announcement. Most people imagine World War III as one huge decision, like somebody presses a button and the world changes overnight. In reality, it's more like a crowded room full of tripwires, or everyone is moving fast. And nobody wants to look weak. The risk grows when decisions are made under time pressure, with incomplete information, while cameras and social media demand instant reactions. The first tripwire is energy and shipping. When a choke point becomes unsafe, the world feels it immediately, because oil, gas, and container traffic do not teleport. They move through narrow corridors, and those corridors can be threatened by missiles, drones, mines, or even rumors that raise insurance costs and make companies reroute. Right now, places like the Strait of Hormuz matter because a small disruption can cause a big shock. If vessels hesitate, costs rise, delays stack up, and governments start calling each other at 3 a.m. because economic pressure becomes political pressure fast. And the scary part is that you don't need a full invasion to create a global crisis. Repeated hits on infrastructure, ports, or ships can be enough to trigger panic and force action, even if action makes the situation worse. The second tripwire is alliances and bases. When countries host foreign bases, they can become part of the battlefield even if they never wanted to be. A strike meant as a message can land near a base, a port, an airport, or an oil facility, and suddenly multiple flags are involved. That's how escalation spreads sideways. One side calls it retaliation, the other side calls it self-defense. Everyone uses careful words, but missiles are not careful, and a single miscalculation can force a response that leaders cannot politically avoid. Now zoom out to the Red Sea and the Suez route. When carriers reroute around Africa, it's not just shipping drama. Supply chains get slower and more expensive, and that turns into domestic anger, inflation fear, and pressure on governments to secure the lanes. That the more military ships you add to protect routes, the more chances you create for accidents. A drone is misidentified. A radar blip becomes a target. A warning shot becomes a headline. Then somebody has to respond to the headline. The third tripwire is the gray zone. This is the world of sabotage, deniable attacks, and it was an accident. Trust us. Undersea cables, pipelines, ports, rail hubs, satellites, and power grids are the nervous system of modern life, and they are soft targets. If a cable is cut or a pipeline is damaged, the first story is confusion. The second story is suspicion. The third story is blame. And blame creates retaliation even when nobody is 100% sure who did it. That's a nightmare scenario, because you can have escalation without certainty. Look at the Baltic region. When vessels are suspected of dragging anchors across cables, it sounds small compared to tanks. But it's not small, it's a message. Your infrastructure is vulnerable. Once that message lands, countries increase patrols, deploy drones, escort ships, and tighten rules. It looks defensive, but it also makes the area more crowded and tense, which increases the chance of miscalculation. Now add cyber. In 2026, you don't have to bomb a city to freeze it. A coordinated cyber attack can hit payments, hospitals, logistics, and media at the same time. When people can't buy food or withdraw cash, governments treat it like an attack, because function matters as much as territory. And modern escalation can be multi-domain by default. See pressure plus drone strikes plus cyber plus disinformation, all at once, all mosey, all confusing. Confusion is dangerous because it makes leaders overreact. The fourth tripwire is the Taiwan Strait. When large drills happen near busy sea lanes, the risk is not only politics, it's geometry, ships, aircraft, missiles, and misunderstandings in tight space. You don't need intent for a disaster. You need speed and proximity. If one incident happens at sea or in the air, it can become a national pride issue within hours. A pilot is lost. A vessel is damaged. A video goes viral. Public emotion rises, and suddenly de-escalation becomes politically expensive. This is where information warfare matters. In a crisis, fake clips and manipulated audio can spread faster than official statements. Even if leaders want to calm things down, the public might be watching a different reality. That's why World War III is not only about weapons, it's also about trust. When trust collapses, every rumor becomes a threat, and every threat demands a response. And responses collide. So what are we actually watching in early March 2026? Stress tests, shipping choke points under pressure, infrastructure vulnerabilities in northern waters, high-intensity rhetoric and military actions in the Middle East, high-risk signaling around Taiwan. None of these automatically means global war, but together they create a world with fewer safe margins. Here is the core idea. The most realistic path to a wider war is not one huge decision. It is a sequence of smaller decisions that feel necessary in the moment. Retaliation, escort operations, sanctions, counter-sanctions, drone strikes, cyber hits. Another retaliation, another limited response. Then the chain becomes hard to stop. Leaders get trapped. If they do nothing, they look weak. If they do something, they risk escalation. And every side believes the other side will back down, right until they don't. But the world does have breaks. Hotlines, back-channel diplomacy, deconfliction agreements, and quiet pressure from countries that don't want the global economy to crash. These tools exist, and they matter, but they only work if leaders choose to use them. So the honest answer is this: World War III is not inevitable, but the risk rises when choke points are threatened, when gray zone sabotage increases, when major powers run high-tempo military actions, and when disinformation makes everyone paranoid at the same time. If you want a practical way to think about it, watch 3 signals: the safety of major shipping lanes, the pace of retaliation, and whether leaders are still talking privately even while they shout publicly. When private talking stops, danger jumps. And finally, remember this: panic content is addictive. It turns uncertainty into entertainment. This channel is not here to panic you. It's here to explain why people are worried, what is real, and how escalation actually works. Thanks for watching. If you want more videos about current events, hidden mechanics, and real-world threats explained like a thriller but grounded in reality, subscribe. And I'll see you in the next one.